It's a great day for another weekly Q&A session, and if you're wondering what this is or where this is coming from, it is a similar setup to the weekly live streams, except, of course, instead of being live, it is pre-recorded, and we're going to be fielding questions here from the YouTube members section, and then also, of course, Discord. If you want to participate, you can, and it is, by the way, 100% free with the link in the description below for Discord, and all you need to do is just find your way over to the weekly Q&A sections. Just absolutely crazy idea right there. And then, of course, if you do want priority, then you can join the YouTube member section for the appropriate tier. It'll be obvious. It'll be very, very obvious. Anyways, let's quickly update on Bitcoin here. I won't go through the full massive rigmarole with this one, but I do want to go over this global liquidity index that we've been following on this channel now for the past couple of weeks. Since one of our members in Discord actually tipped me off to this one, which is very, very interesting. Bitcoin just had another 5-day closure as of last night, so this one's fresh. We have new information, and what do you know? Global liquidity has actually increased, I would say, significantly from the last 5-day open to the next, or to our current 5-day open. And again, this is in combination with this setup that we were looking at on this strategy firing off on the last 5-day open, which was around 95. Sorry, not 95. But 97,812. And of course, I'm using the skeleton key here from the Quant Prime service to generate this strategy, which you can see throughout the full history of Bitcoin. 75% of the time, this produced a pretty nice trade, but more importantly, the way that I really be looking at this is that it kind of gives the green light in the background for, things to rally, I guess. So yeah, anyways, let's now get into the YouTube member section. Let me actually bring up a couple more charts over here as we get prepared for this one. And we'll start it off with, of course, the YouTube members, and Cousin Burley is first, and she, or he, I think it's actually she, is asking about AFRM on the weekly and monthly. What are your thoughts on ever hitting 100 plus again? I mean, it's always a good way to start a question. Is this thing ever going to get there again? I mean, look, like time can go on for a very long time, but I'm imagining within your lifetime is probably the real question. Okay, AFRM. There we go. Affirm holdings on NAS. Will this thing ever? Yeah, I think it's very likely to hit $100. Actually, this is good. This is quite good. Cousin Burley, this is. I think you will actually trade probably a little bit above $100. But very, very simple right here. It's a monthly uptrend. We literally have continuation as of February above the prior swing high. So that is continuation by definition. Just follow the trend. Yeah, I think that it probably even gets above $100 weekly. Same shit here as well. Momentum turning back up on a fresh breakout. So I'm looking at this as in trending motion, and yeah, 104, 105 would certainly not be anything out of the ordinary on this next move, which again is a higher term time frame, so it can take some time to, of course, occur. But yeah, generally looking around there. Anyways, we have Crypto Wrecked RD. He says, hello, Sir Crown. I hope you're enjoying your time in Florida. We are. You can tell by the jersey that I have on the background. It's hot as fuck here, even though it is February, but it's very, very beautiful. In the places that we've been at thus far, we're currently in Tampa, which is actually quite a good city for us, I do think. Anyways, do you reckon below coins have one last run in them, or have they topped out for the cycle? I think in general, before even looking at these, I think in general, most things are going to have another big bounce, even like the shittiest of altcoins. But do they make new highs? Probably not. In fact, I'd say very unlikely to. Doggy coin here, it's not the worst of the bunch, honestly, especially when you compare it with like the real dog shit coins. I mean, when I've been saying that this coin is done for this cycle, I mean, one, no new highs, although it can get some pretty nice bounces, and then two, this has mostly been on the new crop of meme coins is what I've noticed. And this one, in contrast, Doggy Coin, even though it has had a pretty nasty last month and a half, there's still an upturn right here. This is exactly where you'd be expecting a higher low at about 21 cents. So as long as you're above there, I kind of look at it as likely to base out here, put in a higher low, and yeah, probably has one more run. I would imagine probably retest at least the highs of November 2024. And, from there, I mean, I would imagine it probably does try for a legitimate continuation attempt. I mean, long term, one thing that has been consistent for Dogecoin is that it has made new highs each and every macro cycle. So, I'm going to go with the trend until proven otherwise. I just think that this kind of slows it down right here. Obviously, if you start to see closures below 20 cents or so, I'm going to be wrong. And then I would say done, very much done. But until then, maybe not. Ray, I'm guessing this is Radium. Let's see. Yeah. It is indeed Radium. Let's see what this one looks like on the higher term timeframes. Again, another one that is not in a downtrend yet. These are not the ones that are like super concerning. Like I'll show you concerning chart in a moment here, but this one, whoops, let me just go over this time frame. This one obviously in a trading range, very likely staying in this trading range as well for a while, between about 395 to the downside versus 650 to the upside. Do I think that it gets another try to the upside? Probably. It's not as strong, or I wouldn't necessarily call it Dogecoin strong, but it's not as obvious of an uptrend as Dogecoin, for example. But does this one give another run? Maybe try somewhere around $10 before it's all said and done. Perhaps yes. So yeah, moving on from there, you're also asking about Link. Yeah, so you're not bringing up any of like the super shitty ones. I'll show you a shitty one after this, but Link, same shit as Dogecoin. Follow the trend. The trend is still to the upside, and I'd just generally be bullish on this as long as you're above about 1580, $16 on a weekly closing basis. Still think that these LARP lines generally play out, monthly momentum is back onto the upside. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one get another try to the upside, in the coming months. But yeah, as far as like the ones that I'm calling over is shit like this. So like contrast the charts that you brought up with something like this. Let me find, Gate.io. Yeah, like this is done. This is done. This is done. I'm not saying dumb, although it is fucking dumb, but it is done. It's done. It's done for the cycle. Now, even though I think it's done for the cycle, as I think most things, especially the memes are done for this cycle, they can get pretty big bounces. This thing could bounce all the way up to like 11, 12 cents, and that's a tremendous move from where it's at right now. But do I think it's going to make new highs? Fuck no. Cool. Martin Sean Hunt is next. He says, hello, sir. Could you please look at Bitcoin versus gold? Okay. BTC / XAU. I'm actually curious what this is going to show. Let's go to a monthly. Okay, so it appears that Bitcoin is in an uptrend versus gold. Crazy. Who would have thought? But let me just read a little bit more in your question. On a weekly, also quick look at Oh, God. Anyways, weekly, do I think it's going to bounce here? Probably yes. Probably bounce back up to like 13 billion or so. If it does fail this region, meaning below this week's low, then I guess I would have to be looking all the way back down at this gap fill here at a little, around like 10 and a quarter billion. But yeah, other than that, the obvious thing here is that it is indeed an uptrend, and there really needs to be no more crazy analysis on top of that, in my opinion. I think you're just in a corrective period for a while. Anyways, you're also looking at Fartderp on the daily. Okay, my farts are gonna make me rich. My farts are like music. Where's my Fartcoin? Okay, it says Farmcoin. I'm getting everything but fucking Fartcoin. Where's Fartcoin? There it is. I found the Fartcoin. You literally have to type in fart and coin. Again, this thing extremely unlikely to go above that prior all-time high, in my opinion, ever again, but certainly for the cycle. Is getting ready for a daily bounce. I think it's getting ready for a weekly breakdown. Yeah, if this thing was going to bounce, I think you missed it. It was this past week. You can see that it did bounce all the way up to 75 cents. I mean, this was a tremendous move here. Just by the way, that's a 75% move. I think that this move is... I'd be more inclined to say this thing trades down rather than up from here. But hey, if you want to go buy the book, here's what I'd say. I'd say mark off this last prior low which is about 41 cents. As long as you're above there, I guess hopium for a bounce is still alive. You know, you do see momentum also just very beat up here, but I don't trust indicators on bullshit or fart shit like this. So again, I think you're kind of playing with fire. You know, if it was going to have one of these moves, I think it would have happened around here rather than here. But, you know, again, that would be the hopium for it. I personally don't think that that plays out, but, you know, until you actually do take out that prior low, I guess it's still available. Ultimately, this thing comes back down to 15, definitely 20 cents, but probably more like 15, 10 cents. 10 to 15 cents is what I mean to say. All right, cool. That is all of our members for today. Nice one. Let's get into the Discord here. And again, I've actually posted the new, oh, there's someone already typing. Holy shit. The new, oh God. Yes, anyways, we'll get to that one next week. Next week. But yeah, the new weekly Q&A is live right there. All right, cool. Let's get to the one for this week. We have Lovewoods. He says, morning, sir. What's up, ma'am? SPY futures full out. Okay. All right. Yeah, we can look at it. Let's see. I mean, I'm generally bullish on traditional markets. Kind of hard not to be. Full hour. Does it come back down and try for a higher low around 6,100 before it goes for the real breakout for, you know, first? Maybe. I think that this is kind of what makes it difficult on the short term, because the long term is very obvious. The short term, you know, could it have a move back down around 6,100? Sure. I don't really have like a strong bias towards it. I guess if I had to call it, I guess I would. But weekly, monthly, these are continuation. Continuation of the trend. Let's see. Maybe there's some bearish divergence or something. Let's see. That might make it. Oh, I'm on NAS futures. There we go. Is there bearish divergence here? No, there is not, because it did not make new highs alongside that, so can't have it. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Again, maybe 6,100, but again, direction is up. Anyways, nice one. All right. Let's move on. We have Neil next. He says, good morning, Crown. Sui on the daily. Actually, I haven't seen this name before, so good to meet you, sir. See what Sui is doing over here. This is the Raoul Pal shill coin. I say that with love, by the way. I enjoy listening to him. Completely different perspective in terms of like his style of analysis, obviously macro focused, but I think it's interesting. Anyways, Sui, you know, I said before this thing, I said major high, maybe even cycle high, constructed here in early January. It's already fallen a lot. But let's look at the regular chart. This is what the chart really looks like. So it's fallen, first off, fallen 55%. It's retested the prior breakout high. Okay, very likely to bounce there. It is bouncing there, obviously. I mean, it's up, or it was up about 55% the other way. But unfortunately, after a 50% decline, a 55% incline doesn't do you much good. Anyways, I didn't even look at what time frame you're looking at. Daily. All right. Daily, kind of similar to one of the other ones that we looked at. I do think that it will retest around this low, something like this. The LARP lines may be more accurately like this. But I do think that it retests down around this low of like 290-ish region, but should get another bounce there. I do think that this thing can bounce rather aggressively towards maybe even 435. Obviously, this is more of a long-term move here. But, you know, short-term, yeah, I do think that it comes back down and retests around that low before trying that bounce. So higher-term time frames, not a big fan of. So that is why I do say this is, in my opinion, this is extremely likely the cycle high that you saw in January. And so bounces are, you know, probably just that, bounces. Yeah. I will be wrong on that, as always, if this one does pop back above. I mean, it's got a lot of work to do, but like 470 or so. So quite far away. I'm going to grab this water over here, make sure that we're still recording. Microphone's working as well. That's good. Hey, God damn it. Oh. My water doesn't want to open. One moment. Now you're getting the dick microphone because I actually don't have a microphone holder, so that was the cock phone. Anyways, Sorry for the badly formed jokes. K3 says, GM, sirs. What's up, man? Hope you have a great time in the USA. Yeah, it's actually pretty fun. How are you liking the USA? She gives it a thumbs up. What's your analysis on Solana, weekly and daily? You love it. She loves it. If you didn't hear that, let's start off high first. Higher term timeframes still playing out this major range that we've been looking at for quite some time here. Kind of similar to the last one. Do you get another test down around here to 180 or somewhere around 180 first? I do think it's rather likely. Yeah, it would make me feel a lot better about it. If it does come back down to about 180, but I would be looking for a bounce there. And, as I put in this red circle right here, I do think that it will have a pretty decent bounce somewhere between like 220 to 235. But as long as it's below 250, I mean, it's kind of hard to love this one long term as well. I mean, it can stay within this range, having, big percentage bounces the whole way through, but not really doing anything significant. I think it's going to take some time. So yeah, if I were to draw out some LARP lines, something like this, maybe it doesn't need to get exactly down around there. Makes me massively scratch my head when people think that the LARP lines are a one-to-one representation. No, it's not. It's a very low resolution picture, and then probably bounce somewhere around here alongside Bitcoin. Maybe trading back above 100,000 or maybe even making new highs. I think it's going to need a strong Bitcoin. I think most things need a strong Bitcoin at this point. It really does seem to me that the meme sector has fucking sucked this whole crypto thing dry. But yeah. Anyways, Hamia says, hey Crown, with Trump/BlackRock buying so much Ethereum, would you not expect Ethereum to run at some point, even if the technicals look weak? Well, if they were buying and it actually mattered, wouldn't the technicals look strong? Now you're starting to understand, or hopefully now you're starting to understand, why going off of news and fundamentals is always going to be second nature to price, because price is objective. It is actually true. This Trump/BlackRock, it's unquantifiable. What does that even mean? They already bought. They already fucking bought. So I guess maybe your insinuation is that, well, they're very smart and very powerful, so if they buy, it means it must go up. Well, not everything that they buy is going to go fucking up, but look, Ethereum is weak. It is a piece of shit, and it is a flaccid peepee that deserves no action. But if Bitcoin rallies, it will rally as well. It's a very similar chart to Solana, except this one's on the monthly and has not made new highs, and Solana is more so on the weekly and has made new highs. But yeah, do I think that Ethereum is very likely putting in the next major high or low here? Yeah, I do think so. Do I think it's going to get a rally, in the next few months? Yeah, definitely. Well, I shouldn't say definitely, but very likely alongside Bitcoin. Do I think it's going to be one massive outperformer? No, I think it's an underperformer. In fact, I think it needs some Cialis or Viagra or some shit like that, because it's redacted. It's very redacted. Don't fall in love with old coins. They don't love you back. They, in fact, actually hate you, which is why they tend to use up all your money and don't really return anything. Crazy. Anyways, Moali says, hey Crown, what do you think about PAL on daily? Okay, let's check this one out. This one's an AI thing, I think. It's the AI thing. LARP lines here, I think, are still going to be about right. I think you're in a bounce area. Long term, not a humongous fan of this one, but I guess this would be the bullish view. I do think that you're going to bounce around this region. It might retest these lows again. That's fine. I don't think they're going to be making like significantly new lows or anything like that. I think you're in a bounce phase. I mean, this thing's been beat up a lot without really. This thing is literally not even bounced since since January 17th. So about a month, and 66% to the downside. Very likely to bounce pretty heavily here, but yeah, come back to it after that. Long term, I still have a lot of reservations on a lot of these things. Mr. Rectop says, GM Crown, not Elsa. Can you take a look at Tau on the daily and weekly? Sure. Okay, what was it again? Oh my God. Don't even have a weed here, and I still can't remember. Tau. All right, let's see. Tau on the dollar. I don't like it. Really don't like it. I think that this one's going to retest this low. It is overall weaker compared to most of the things that we looked at. These LARP lines played out over here, but I didn't do the LARP lines of what happens after that plays out, which apparently is to the downside. Yeah, I think that this one's coming back down somewhere around here, either around this low that you saw from like last week, or maybe even the wick low from February 3rd. I do think that it will bounce around there, but you know, not the strongest thing that we've seen today for sure. Definitely on the weaker side. Whoops, I just goofed that up. There we go. Curious, you know, where might it bounce? I mean, if it does want to bounce, it could easily bounce to $500, and that's a humongous fucking move. But it doesn't do anything for a long term. In fact, as long as it's below about 600, I would approach it with extreme caution. But that's just me. Anyways, Bitcoin Buddy says, hey, Ground, can you look at Canadian dollar versus the real dollar? Sure. Okay, CAD, USD, we got some Forex action up in here. Things are moving around. Yeah, so I think we've looked at this chart a few times in the past month or two, and I still have the same thing to say. In fact, it's doing kind of what we were looking for here. It is bouncing off of the same region that it's bounced off of since 2016. I do think that this bounce probably has more onto it. It might flail around the lows here, maybe coming back to like 69 cents again first. Great number. But I do think that it generally bounces from there. And you got to move somewhere around 70, like 70 plus, or sorry, obviously that's 70, but maybe even as much as like 74, 75. Long term, obviously I don't like it, but you know, that's a tremendous bounce. It probably takes a very long time to play out. So yeah. All right. Let me get my water again. I'm being very, very adventurous because on my water, I'm leaving the cap off. I will say the food quality here in Florida, pretty fucking impressive, pretty good. Every meal that we've had has been very fresh and tasted like food is supposed to taste. Ooh, yeah. Elsa says, ooh, yeah. Elsa eats donuts, by the way, in the morning. She just stuffs her fucking face with donuts the whole time. Hurry, give me some more donuts. Tastes good. Manticore says, Dear Sir, warm wishes to Lady Elsa and yourself, and to you as well, sir. I'm part of MetaSignals and looking to take the next step, okay? Seriously considering Quant Prime. Nice. Can you please give me a rough idea on what sort of accounts? I should probably explain Quant Prime for the people here who don't know what it is. Quant Prime is the same script that we're using over here, which allows you to essentially create customized strategies and automate your backtesting, and you can even automate your execution as well. Anyways, back onto it. Can you please give me a rough idea of what sort of account size I should aim for to try to break even on your monthly subscription? By the way, I'll let you know a secret, as everyone else here as well. We're going to have a sale coming up in March for the 7th birthday of this channel, which is actually insane. 7th fucking birthday of this channel. So, you know, if you are considering it, wait a little bit until then. And we're also working on another thing as well that will give people, you know, a chance to get their hands on it and try it and see for themselves, because I think that's really the way that it needs to be done, because in my opinion it's the most powerful thing that's affected my trading in years. And well, I think people just need to see it for themselves to also be on the same page. Anyways, okay, so what account size should I aim for to try to break even on your monthly sub? I'm just going to go off of the sale price because that's coming up soon. It's going to be about $120, $125 per month. So in order to make more than $125 per month, let's say, I mean, look, you could, okay, I'll give you the answer. I'll give you the true answer, and then I'll give you the professional answer that I need to give, because that's the right thing to do. The true answer is that, look, even if you had a really fucking low dollar account, like $5,000, if you use leverage okay, I'm going to make massive assumptions here, because most people will not be this person that I'm about to speak about, but it sounds like you might be, just based off your next sentence there. But first, we assume you have a working strategy because, yes, you will be creating your own strategy. Of course, we do have the quant library, which you can reference strategies from and pull strategies from, but you are really expected to iterate off of them and make them your own. I mean, obviously, if everyone was using the same fucking strategy, it's not going to work. Like, duh. Anyways, so assuming that is set, assuming that you have a working strategy, which many people, if they don't already have ideas coming into it, it takes them a while to get, from what I've noticed. But they do get there, actually. I mean, I've seen a lot of success. I've also seen people also not have success. So it does come down to your own ability as well. Of course, we do try to help out in the Discord where we can, but it is going to come down to you. Anyways, if that is in place, look, you could really easily make it back on a low dollar amount using 5x 10x leverage on like $5,000. I could see that working, but you have to also remember when it comes to any strategy, really, whether it's automated or not. Obviously this can be automated, but when it comes to any strategy, you might have a month where it's just a down month, but if you look at the progress over a year, then you're up, a decent amount. Well, like if you start off on a very low dollar account and you're using that higher leverage and you do have a bad month, then you just blew yourself out and you didn't give yourself enough space to breathe in order for that strategy to even work, which it very well might have long term. So the professional answer is, really, you want an account size of probably about 25,000, I would say, and that's also the same account size that you need in traditional markets in order to be a day trader, meaning that you can trade or you can make more than 3 trades per day. So yeah, I think that gives you a little more breathing room there. Obviously, more is better, but again, it's primarily going to come down to your strategy. So I would say if everything's perfect, $5,000 probably does the job at 5x or maybe even 10x leverage, going up to 25 or $50,000, but it doesn't give you much space for error. So you are chancing it there, definitely. Do the equity curves assume compounding? They do not, i.e. no withdrawals, or rather are they based on a standard it's based on a standard position size. Exactly. 100%. Yeah, that makes sense. All good, man. Hope that was helpful. All right. RN, what's up? Sir Crown, could you please look at links on the daily and weekly? We kind of already looked at it. Maybe we'll just go briefly back over to it. Let's go down to a daily. Okay, looks like the LARP lines have been directionally correct here. I do think that you're in a bounce phase, but does it retest these lows first? Probably. Might even put a wick down around like $16.50 first as well. But, as long as it's not closing below Monday, the 3rd of February's low, I'm looking at this as a bounce area, and, it's actually acted okay here. It's not super impressive or anything like that, but it has acted okay. So I'd kind of generally be looking for a bounce, could easily trade back up towards $24-25 in the next month if it does. All right. Weird Beard says, hey, Crown, would you mind giving me your opinion on my backtesting approach for Bitcoin? I'm thinking of randomly sampling end day periods. Okay, maybe so like 100 days from 2017 onwards. For each sample, I'll look at the dispersion of returns over the following 1, 2, 3. Okay. Yes. Then I'll compare these baseline results to the returns triggered by a specific signal. Okay, now you're starting to lose me a little bit because I don't understand what exactly you mean there. Then I'll compare these baseline results, okay, get that, to the returns triggered by a specific signal. Okay, so another thing, just entirely. Okay, yeah. I'll probably break it down further into bear and bull market cycles. But does that approach seem logical to substantiate a statistical edge? Actually, yeah, it does. In fact, that is something that we speak about in the Quant Prime service. This is a form of forwards testing in a way, and it is massively beneficial to kind of creating a highly or a more highly structural integrity of your strategy. So yeah, I think you're definitely on the right path there, and kudos to you for figuring that out yourself, because that has taken many people, myself included, some time to figure out. All right. Volps says, happy travels, sir and madame. Could you please look at Litecoin on higher term timeframes? Sure. LTC. US derp. I remember this one was rallying like last week, or was it the week before that? It always makes me skeptical when I see something like Litecoin rallying, but it is rallying, and it is at the top side of its range, and it is in a breakout posture here as well. I think that it probably does. Yeah. Weekly momentum, if it ever was going to break out, this would be it. Weekly momentum to the upside as long as you're above 114. Daily to the upside as long as you're above 115. Monthly to the upside as long as you're above 75. Right now trading at 132. Yeah, I think it's always difficult to bet on Litecoin because like it does fail more often than not long term, but it has everything going for it that would denote it's going to try for a real breakout. How would you confirm a real breakout? It needs to trade and close above this prior high right here, which is 141. At that point, I think you're looking I don't know, probably around like 160, 170, maybe $200, something like that. Yeah, not bad. All right. Texas, Sig Ep, nice. Ni Hao Di from South China. Not the great place to live. Really? Huh. I've actually not really heard good things about China outside of what's it called? Hong Kong. Can we take a look at CRV on the daily and weekly? And against Bitcoin, because I know it gives you the chub. Let's just look at it versus Bitcoin. I'm guessing that is just obviously down, but well, I'm going to guess it's down. Maybe it's not. Yep, it's massively down. Bearish as fuck. Ugly as fuck. There's never been an uptrend ever. It only goes down. Maybe let's look at it versus the dollar. There might be a small ounce of hopium there. Also quite ugly. Shit, man. This weekly high right here. Ugly. Ugly. I think that this thing's coming back down to the lows overall. Is there going to be bounces in between? Yeah, there is. Maybe even gets one more shot at like 130, but I have great reservations with this one. I mean, if it does get another shot around here, I mean, that's a fucking big move, but ultimately the destination is the same. Somewhere back down around these lows. Very, very ugly. Very, very bad. But I guess in the short term, I was going to say it wouldn't take too much to get a bounce. I think you're going to at least retest these lows first. If you close below the 3rd of February's low, then it's back down to these lows here. If you continue to hold above there, maybe there's some hopium, but I think it's pretty bad, just to put it bluntly. Myth Reindeer says, yellow, how are things? Things are actually quite good. Could you please look at Render USD? Buying as should do. It looks like an internal yearly range. Any hopium of a retest of all-time highs, or are we fucked for several years? Check it out. Render. I remember this one was acting very well in the beginning of the cycle, but I haven't really heard too much about it since then. Okay, my ass is stuck to this chair. Why else is giving me a weird look? Everyone needs to know that. I think I would be more on the lenient side here with Render. I do think it's going to get another bounce off of this 360-ish region. It might retest there again, but I don't think you're going to break down. And I do think that you will get a decent bounce. Bounce very likely brings you back around $7. Does it bring you back around prior highs? Well, I actually would not count this one out just yet. I mean, this is very obviously a consolidation range here. So, as long as it's within here, yeah, there is still certainly a chance of that. Just need to trade above your December highs. But I think personally, what you're going to see is a lot more of this, like bounce here, blah, 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 blah. And then if you see something like that, that would be very, very good. But I do think that you get this bounce at least. And then from there, like if it comes back down to this low, all bets are off, even though I do think it will pull back from there. But yeah. All right. Okay. My Angus is chafing on this. Yeah, I don't think it's fucked for several years yet. No, I would not agree with that. Or it's not that you're saying that, but I wouldn't be saying that just yet. Yeah, especially if it can reclaim the 21 by the end of this month, which is where 5/22. Yeah. All right. I Sky Ski says, "Morning, sir. Can you explain which parts of this argument are correct and parts are wrong? Cheds is trying to state that because an RSI is a bounded oscillator, you can't reliably use it for divergences." Okay, I would massively disagree with that. But is that what he's actually saying? Maybe he's just not meaning on high-term timeframes. He suggests using OBV for reliable divergences. Okay, you included a conversation here. Let's check this one out. All right, so this person has some Japanese name, I think. It's probably massively offensive if it's not Japanese. It's like, no, that's South Korean. I don't fucking know. Okay, so Ched's response says, okay, I'm just reading it. Okay, I don't, no offense, but I don't think that you've interpreted this properly. That's not what Cheds seems to be saying. And by the way, I've actually been talking with Cheds. We're gonna do a video when I'm back in Finland. He seems like a really cool guy, and you know he's very classical TA, which you know will never die, which I appreciate as well. Anyways, he says. Yeah, so his main issues is that one, you're using, or this person was using divergences with Wix. Like obviously you can't use Wix for divergence with the RSI. Why is that? Well, it's very simple. The RSI only calculates, sorry, something in my throat. The RSI only calculates the closure of a candle or a period, whatever you want to call it. So if you're using a wick, you're measuring something that is not included in the RSI's calculation. Thus, you know, it's not accurate. Now, a lot of the times it will work out like that, but there certainly are some times where it does not. So he is 100% correct in that. And then a multi-month period rather than 14 bars. He's not talking about higher term timeframes here. He's talking about the length in between these potential divergences. So I'm guessing, because I can't really see the picture that well here, but I'm guessing there's like a lot of time elapsing between this high, and this high. And yeah, he's right on that as well. Many people have different ideas as to how far back you can look. For example, Caretaker looks at 22 bars back. I think that I mean, a lot of the time I do see it work out more than that, like 28 to even like 32. Obviously, the higher that you go, the less and less likely it is. But if you're going like way far away, you should just go to a higher term time frame. And if there's no divergence there, then forget it. So yeah, I would agree with him, and I actually appreciate this because he seems to be a massive TA nerd, which I am as well. So yeah. Yeah, and he's saying if you want to do divergences like that, like super far away, use an OBV. Yeah, that makes sense because OBV is not an oscillator, or bounded as he says. But yeah, all right. We have Gallo next. Let me just check on time. Okay, this is a wall of text, sir. For fuck's sake, this is an actual wall of text. Hello, sir. Following your advice from the last Q&A, I wanted to share my simple strategy and wanted to ask you to feel free to judge my poor coin choices and strategies. I always like to hear your thoughts. I appreciate that, man, even when they are not what I expected. I only invest very long-term in layer ones or past shitcoins with some history and active projects. Already, I hate it. Look, I'll give you my opinion, and then I'll give you an opinion from your perspective, like adopting your frame of mind, essentially. Okay, so you only invest in long-term layer ones or past shitcoins with some history and active projects. Okay, all right. Well, at least they still have active projects, so there's that. Strictly within the top 100 coins. Don't think it matters that much, man. To reduce the risk of them going to zero. They're not going to go to zero. That's the thing. You are going to be right on that. They're not going to go to zero. Even fucking BitConnect from 2017, which was a literal scam that several lawsuits were filed against in, I think, Texas, still had like a trading price many years after. It's just no one fucking traded it because no one gave a fuck. I pick coins that haven't pumped yet. Not a good sign, usually. Avoiding XRP or Trump. The good ones pump, and they continue to pump until the end of the cycle. Those are the good ones. And consistently DCA into them, like Sandbox, AVAX, Uni. Okay, all of those I think are just absolute fucking garbage. Maybe not Uni. I don't know. I haven't checked that chart in a while, but I do know Sandbox is pretty fucking bad. AUX, I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not gonna, I don't think it does anything interesting. Just my personal opinion. But let me adopt your mindset here. My strategy is simple. DCA no matter what on these coins until Bitcoin starts giving market cycle tops like stochastic RSI and the 2-month chart cross. I don't think that matters at all from the for Bitcoin, to be honest. Stochastic RSI, I think, is a terrible indicator. It's a retarded indicator. It doesn't work very well, especially for timing cycle tops or anything like that. Like, Jesus. If you want to time cycle tops, or if you want to even just discuss cycle tops, the easiest and most accurate way actually is just going to be the weekly trend for Bitcoin. As long as that is up, still a bull market. The second it goes down, no longer a bull market. Anyways, multiple divergences on the weekly or bi-monthly chart. If you're using divergence on stochastic RSI, you're fucked. It does not work. It doesn't even work well in stochastic. It only works decently on RSI, in my experience. Other historical indicators you've shared before in your channel, okay. While I don't intend to call tops or sell at the top, my exit would be closing my positions progressively once these signs start occurring. I think that the signs that you're looking at are not ideal. Okay, I'm just assuming your mindset for this strategy, which I just, again, bluntly, I think is a losing strategy. I don't think this will work. If you are going to do it like this, I would suggest dropping the retarded stochastic RSI, throwing it in the trash can, and it's just fucking, I don't understand why people use this thing. And adopting the weekly trend. The weekly trend is your friend for Bitcoin. When that flips around, the cycle is over. When, maybe the monthly stochastic crosses down again for Bitcoin because it's already in a really critical region, that could maybe be a worthy sign for you. Because again, it sounds like you're trying to time the momentum rather than the top. That's fair enough. I could see that. But yeah, the problem is that's probably going to cross down in the next few months here. And I don't think that your coins are going to be doing too much to the upside in that time. They will get bounces, very likely. I mean, near the very end of the cycle, they will get very strong bounces, I expect, but nothing super, super crazy. Anyways, is my strategy shitty? I just don't think it's going to work personally because this has never been a winning strategy from cycle to cycle. The picking, projects from the past cycle has never been a winning strategy. Yes, they get pops, but usually near the end of the cycle, and almost always they never make new all-time highs, but they can get very big percentage moves. But the thing is that how much does it fall before that moves play out? Like, are you even still above water? I don't know, because I don't know your entries and whatnot. Yeah. Hopefully that was helpful, man. Okay, Mr. Brosh is back. He's looking at Hype. Okay, I remember looking at this one earlier this week, and I was surprised. It actually performed, okay relative to other things. Playing back up towards the top side of the range. Let me just make this chart for this time frame. Okay, actually, it's quite easy. There's your last major important high. There's your last higher low. You just rejected off the top side of the range. I do think that you get another test or two around there, but if it fails again on another test of around $28, I would be looking lower first, like lower from where it's at right now, like, back down to $21. But it should have another try, and hey, if it starts to close above 28.36, this thing should retest or should trade back above 30, like 32, 33, maybe even just makes new highs from there. Possible. 5-day, yeah, short term, very likely does try somewhere around 25.5, but I do think that this one has another try towards the top side of the range after that, and this one is in a position to break out. So there is that. Just not a whole hell of a lot of history here, unfortunately, to be going off of. Yeah, short term, I do think it comes down a little bit though, like I said. And if it really starts to lose like below 24.5, then I'll be wrong about a test to the top side of the range first, and it'll be a test to the bottom side of the range first, and then very likely another bounce. All right. Zen Turtle says, hey, Crown. Hope you're doing well. I'm curious, lifestyle-wise, what do you feel has most contributed to your success, and what key habits or mindset shifts have helped you stay consistent in building the 1% of our bottom hand over time? Actually, I don't know what that means. Okay, so what do I think? Look, you always have to understand that when someone's giving you like what worked for them, it's kind of like they're showing you their own winning lottery ticket, because everyone is different and everyone experiences things differently in a way. And so I'll share what I think worked best for me, but it might not be the same for you. Although I do think that these things are probably, at least this one's going to be universal. So the first thing would be perseverance, like obviously, just the ability to focus on something and put up with the hard times and survive until the good times, because it does take a long time to learn trading, or at least it took a long time for me. Really, like I'd say the first 2 years were just pure learning for me. Yes, I was trading during that time. Yes, I had some successes during that time, but it was a great learning experience. And of course, I've learned ever since then. But I'm talking about like the big things that got me off the starting block. But just focusing on something, paying attention to something, and studying something, or just doing something, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful with that, because you need to have the right sort of information in the background. So in that regard, I was lucky. So you do have to include these things together. It's like perseverance with a good sort of source of knowledge, if you will, for how to get there. Those two things together are very, very powerful if you can do them, because then it's just a matter of time. Even if you're like an actual retard, over time you could probably learn it. Obviously, if you're super, super smart, then you'll learn it a little bit faster. Some people are just more equipped or more naturally, readily learn these sort of things than others. Again, due to our differences, but I do think that everyone kind of get there over a long enough time period. So yeah. Other than that, the things that I think really do help is that I do focus a lot on health. I think that obviously in a really fucking difficult profession such as trading, you don't want to be cutting yourself short on anything that you might. And your brain is your fucking power in this game. And your brain is going to be operating in its highest state when you are at the greatest health. So, going to the gym, doing weights and shit like that. I mean, that's good. Yes, that I think a lot of people start with that because it's easy, but I do think that doing high intensity work is extremely, extremely valuable. That just seems to have some sort of interplay with your brain that makes it more clear. Having a good diet, so no bullshit. No bullshit foods. Even when I was super poor, I ate like very, very simple stuff, like just straight up ground beef and eggs. I did that for years. Sometimes I still do it. It's very, very nice and feels like I'm burning clean energy during that time. Getting a good night's sleep, that matters massively. I cannot for the life of me understand these people who stay up all fucking night. You're not going to be making good decisions. This is well documented fact. If it's like dumb work that just needs to be done, of course, staying up all night can be helpful. But still, you're probably more productive if you get a good night's sleep anyway. So I focus a lot on that. I do things like sauna, and I do a lot of reading or listening to podcasts that are also just different than trading. Just because I think it's good to be well-rounded in that regard, or at least try to be. So yeah, man, hopefully that was in some way helpful, but those would be like the principles, I'd say, or like actual actions that you could take. So hopefully that is also actionable. MS109 was a top, says, hello, Sir Crown. Thanks for your daily videos. I've learned a lot from them. Link versus apparently not how to call a top, but fair enough. Link, we've already done this one a couple times, so all good there. Has Bitcoin put in a cycle high? It is a top, so you're not technically wrong on that statement. I think it will be an incorrect statement in the coming month or two, maybe even this month. But yeah, we've already done links, so I think we're good there. BJ Tom BJ 618 says, "Hey, Karan, love the Q&A. Awesome, man. Much appreciated for us Aussies now that you're in the US. If you're right about Bitcoin topping in Q1/Q2, what do you think happens if the US turns the money printer on and drops interest rates in Q3?" Well, if I think that there's a top, then I think that there's a top. I mean, look, if everything was perfect in the background, then, you know, you kind of be a fool not to be bullish. But look, Bitcoin, traditional markets, many cryptos, many meme coins have made significantly new all-time highs, despite all of these things not being in place. So I always go back to, like, does it really matter? Because apparently that's supposed to be bad, you know, interest rates being high, that's supposed to be bad, right? There's a looming recession, right? Again, these sort of things are just, they're very hard to quantify, at least for myself. I like to go with price. That's what I think right now. Top very likely, like extreme likely before the end of the first half, maybe even by the end of the first quarter. Yeah, just be looking for some downside from there. And, you know, it could maybe even like, let's say the US does turn on the money printer and drops interest rates, blah, 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 which these things are not going to be happening anytime soon, by the way. That's just my opinion. You know, I think Bitcoin puts in a top. It's going to take like months and months and months before you start to see that sort of shit happen. Just my opinion. Again, Jerome Powell has come out and already said he would not consider doing QA until interest rates are at zero or near zero, and they're like very far away. So especially when you consider that they dropped them at like 0.25% at a time, like it's going to take a while. See how deep we are in this one. We are 51 minutes. All right, we'll go a little bit more. Luch says, "Morning, Crown. Can you check the 4-hour and daily on gold?" Actually, I haven't looked at gold at all in a long time, so let's check it out. Just the 4-hour, huh? Well, hold on. Daily looks like a local high here. I do think that this one will trade down to like 28, 22 region. But if you're specifically on the 4-hour time frame, is there a bounce before that? Probably yes. You know, probably bounces up to like 29.05 first. But I'd be looking for this one to reconnect with the weekly 5. So that's, again, like 28.10 to 28.20 region, let's call it. Yeah. Bearish engulfing dildo on Friday's closure. I think you're in for a pullback here, man. Cool. All right. Abdo Frame says, "Crown, all the best to you and Elsa. If you head to the Keys, definitely stop at the Hungry Tampon restaurant. Hungry Tarpoon." I did say the Hungry Tampon, yes. In Isla Miranda. Amazing what Hungry Tampon. Amazing water slide. That actually does sound really, really cool. Unfortunately, we won't be around there though. We're staying around here in Tampa, really. LCX on the daily and weekly. Let's check it out. LCX. This one doesn't really ring a bell here. Maybe it's been a long time. Okay. At least it rallied this cycle, so there's that. Has not made new all-time highs this cycle. Retested the prior all-time high. Something like this, you know, I think you're in a bounce phase here. Again, just as long as you're above the 3rd of February's low, I think you're in a bounce phase. I think this thing could bounce up even, you know, quite decently towards 22 cents. If it's going to be bullish, it's going to obviously bounce up more than that. It's going to bounce above about 30 cents. Above 30 cents, I'd actually be bullish on this thing to retest the prior highs and maybe even break out at that point. But for now, one thing before the next, because, you know, I could very easily see a bounce up here and then it actually does break down a bit. But we'll see. Again, it entirely depends upon how high this next bounce gets. So if it does get above again, what was it, like 30 cents? I'd actually just be straight up bullish on it. Okay. AC says, "Hey, Crown, KULR daily, weekly. Any chance this goes to $10 this year?" There's always a chance, just might be very low probability. KULR technology. I think very unlikely. Extremely, extremely, extremely unlikely. You just popped up to your last prior major high, essentially. Sold off from it. I think that this thing is coming down and going to trade sideways at best for a while. And of course, while it trades sideways, it can test the top side of the range again. Like these large plans, I think still probably play out where it'll test around here again. But I have great reservations with this one actually making new highs or continuing on with the rally. I do think that it finds its way back below, you know, probably below $1 given enough time. Yeah. Extremes on the weekly, extremes on the monthly. I think that you found a major high right here, honestly. But again, that can take a long time to play out. So $10 is quite far away. I wouldn't say this year if it is going to get there at all. Toba says, good day, good sir. Good day to you as well, sir. Thank you for the nice positive message. Awesome, man. That's good. Jay Bay says, good day, sir. Please do coin daily weekly. Coin daily weekly. Okay. 274. This one was popping up quite well intro week, and then it had its earnings, and then it came down quite well. This one, though, you know, I don't really have a whole hell of a lot of new things to say about it. I still think generally good. I still think, especially as long as you're above, what is this, 260. As long as you're above 260, I'm going to be bullish on it. It's trading above all major moving averages on the monthly. Monthly momentum is freshly crossing the upside as long as it's above 235. So I would have a line in the sand at 260 as long as you're above there. Generally looking for this one to follow through up and to the right and probably retest these highs from November of 2021. All right, I think we got one or two more left of me. My voice is starting to hurt now. Brad Walt says, good day, sir. What would you say a fair amount of time is to go backwards and backtesting to be able to say you have a solid strategy? Is 2 years a valid amount? So it depends on what time frame you're on. So for example, 2 years would be a valid amount if you're on a 1 minute time frame. I guess it'd be okay. But you know, now that we have the Quant Prime tool, like I will always backtest every strategy that I can for its full history just to know. But for Bitcoin specifically, I like to go from about 2014 to 2015 to current, because I think that, you know, that's kind of like the modern era of Bitcoin. I mean, the modern era of Bitcoin is more like 2017 or 2018 to current, but the data from 2015 still seems consistent from what I've seen. So I'll do that on pretty much every time frame, honestly. Except for obviously when you get to like a 12 hour, well, even a 12 hours, okay, it's more than 10 years, but a daily, you just want all the history that you can get, because it can, it can obviously handle a lot more. It takes a lot more time to, to get those iterations. So yeah. All right. Emmy says, hello, sir. I wish you very well. I need tether dominance chart to see how it looks on high term time frame. No, just one at a time, sir. Read the beginning message. My voice is already wrecked here, so yeah, I do need to be a little more stringent with that. God, this chart really bothers me long term. Short term, though, I do think you are putting in a high here. I think I've made a couple of Twitter posts about this. Popped back up to the weekly range highs. I think you're rolling over here. Momentum's turning down. Volatility is coming down as well. I think that this thing does come down again closer to 4%, which should be good for cryptos, or at least Bitcoin. But long term, like, I don't think this one is that much further down to go. I'd even be kind of surprised if it makes new lows at this point. Bitcoin can make new all-time highs, by the way, even if this thing does not make new lows. If it just trades around the current low, that'd probably be good enough. But yeah, this one's already beat up pretty damn good. So still, this month not happening. But when the monthly stochastic also crosses the upside, I don't want to be bullish during that time. But right now, for now, it continues to remain to the downside. All right, we're going to end on this one. Tentacle analysis. Nice. It is tentacle analysis. 3NRJ says, how do your strategies differ between large caps, mid caps, and meme coins? Yes, very easily. Bitcoin, I have actual strategies for. Large cap, mid caps, and meme coins, don't trade, don't trade, and don't trade. I don't care to trade these things. Look, I'm not saying that you can't make money in them, but for fuck's sake, man, most of the stuff is just absolute fucking garbage, and you have way more risk than you would have trading Bitcoin or traditional markets. Trading these sort of things, even the high quality ones, like they're garbage. They're garbage. That's why they're not a real company. Sorry, just being like really fucking aggressive on this one, but that's just my opinion. Look, that's just my opinion. I don't trade anything not named Bitcoin in the crypto sector. Other than that, I trade traditional markets, or I don't even really trade there. I invest there, I guess, because I'm holding very long term. But yeah, memes, avoid. Mid caps, it's like avoid even more. Large caps, I don't think it matters. If you stick around this whole crypto sphere long enough, you'll notice that these things come and go every cycle, and they have virtually no staying power except for a very, 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 very small amount, which, in my opinion, is too hard to figure out which ones. So I don't do it at all. I just say fuck them. Anyways, that's where we're going to end today's video. My voice is sufficiently wrecked. We have made it just to 1 hour as well. So that's good enough. Like I said, there is a sale coming up in just a couple weeks here. I want to remind people that we do have now an AI chatbot similar to ChatGPT. It's actually running off of ChatGPT, but with my information and my training data that accompanies the Quant Prime service and also the Trade Like a Quant program, which is more of an informational program on how to set up strategies. And that sale is coming up in just a few weeks here. It'll be around middle of March for the birthday of this channel. And other than that, we're here in the States for another week, and then it's back to the usual schedule for all the people asking. With that said, I'd like to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully tomorrow.